Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another mod stream. I'm you. You're me. What's my other intro? I don't know who can be bothered to remember this. Let's go into some work. Let's get some actual work done on Project Hydra. Project Hydra is not the name of this project in the future. At some point, I will be renaming it. I reached this realization pretty early on this week. Or maybe it was late last week, talking about essentially the main reason for the name to be this in the first place was to denote that, for example, a project of mine that has the project prefix and an all capital name like Hydra or Nemesis is kind of meant to dissociate from the rest of my work so that you instantly know, oh, that's like a remake of like an overhaul or somehow based around unoriginal content, like the original campaigns. Whereas, obviously, like I don't have Inconsummate as Project Inconsummate. That's obviously not the case. Or any of my other projects, right? Any of my other actual work don't have that sort of prefix. And Hydra has outgrown that. To an extent, Nemesis has as well, although you just haven't seen any recently. If anything, I think they'll just end up getting completely different names at some point. So there'll be a rebranding in the works. We will see what happens there. We head on over to the Terran things. We've got a new category for Shadow Ops stuff. I've also renamed Air to Orbital and Mech to Armor and Bio to Infantry just for more sensibility. Subtudor. Hydra was made in 2017. Late 2017 is when I started working on it. So it's been about 4 years. Well, 3.5, I guess. This October, it will be 4 years old. I'll put it to you that way. Oh yeah, I should get my drink in order here. No, not really. It can't be completed in Brood War. We have to make a new engine and make a new game. It's really just a tech demo for what we're going to make later on. But am I almost done with it? I don't know. Probably not. I'm going to be working on some campaigns instead of continuing to work on like the game state or whatever. Yeah. So like right now I'm going to be adding some units, but those are going to be important for the campaigns themselves. Although I guess since I'm adding Terran units, it won't be that impactful for the upcoming missions. I guess we could do some mapping today for the campaign. I don't see why not. But I've selected some unit IDs somewhat recently for things like the scrapyard. So I can start to implement those. Technically, the Aspirant and Cohort are actually in the game, but I don't know what you mean by those two. We definitely won't be using either of those in the new engine. We use some tools that are coded in Python, but we don't write anything in either of those languages. The AI is its own language, ASC3, which is not particularly, or I guess it's just SCAI. It's not particularly robust. It's like assembly, basically. Procedural, I think is the term in a code-based level. And then, yeah, otherwise we code in C++ for the plugin. I think we're going to be using Go for the new engine. So we're mostly trying to keep out of interpreted languages, though, as a general rule, since they leave a lot of performance on the table. I'm getting fire engined. Hold on. Wow, I can't believe that Watchdog is winning over Warden. That's impressive. I'll just go ahead and share this. A tight race. Make your vote count. Exclamation points. What else did we get here? I guess I can start to draft something for... What else do I have to rename? I have to rename Photon Cannon. That might have been in time for Luminary. Isn't there a term for, like, I know there's Pillar of Creation, which is like an image. Okay, we'll just go back over here. Ah! Don't advertise me. Jesus. Alright, see you later, Tudor. Alright, that's not very helpful. What do we need? I'm thinking of, like... Focused light. I don't know. I'm thinking of, like, terms of... Wow. I'm glad that's a World of Warcraft item. And a Destiny item. Jesus. Collimated beam. Nah, this is kind of lame. Apparently, collinear means to direct in a straight line. I do want the photon cannon to eventually have a beam attack instead of a fucking projectile, but let's look at this up. Is Parhelion even in here? No, of course not. Let's just see. Light. Luminescence from the sun or other source. Would they have much of a reverence for the sun? I don't imagine so. Yeah, that's kind of a tough one, isn't it? Alright, I'm not getting anything off of Photon Cannon right now. Shield Battery is pretty lame. Bulwark was just a lame name for a shield, so I didn't really want to use that either, but I was thinking of something that, like, what's something that, like, gives life to other things, right? Like a term for giving life. Maybe we can find something here. Apparently you could just search phrases in this. I didn't know that. Would have helped. I still can't believe Blizzard just decided to make everything action verbs. What a practice, to be honest. Yeah, I'm not coming up with anything for the Protoss names yet. I'll think about that, like what kind of system I want for those. Like maybe I want... I have to decide if I want to have anything associated with like default words. Essentially, a lot of the current Protoss stuff is set up in a way where you have a descriptive word like automaton, and then a word that like makes it sound like a structure, like register, like automaton register, or machinist hall, or I mean, some of the original ones were robotics facility. Um, I think like Citadel of a Dune could certainly be renamed as well, just to make it so that it's not something of something. But I don't know. I guess I'm also using that in the future for things like Monument of Sin, so maybe it's okay. I should probably start to plan the rest of these now that I think about it. Here we go. Obviously, we're not even doing the Infested Templar anymore. Did the Infested Geyser and Cosmo Colony. I don't actually know if... Yeah, I don't actually think we need the Chrysalis either. Considering we're like the main purpose of them was to handle aberrants, and aberrants aren't in the game, or they're not going to be added. Okay, so I guess I can do some. Give this an initial look. Okay. What do we got? Yeah, eventually I'm going to add more static defense. I've added the Sentinel, for example, which obviously is a pretty generic name. But the idea is that it's an automatic turret. I had an old upgrade for this thing, actually. Terran upgrades should be here somewhere. Sequester. It's like a journeyman. All right, I'll think about that because that might work out for them. I mean, the missile turret currently is like either Warden or Watchdog, right? So we're just waiting on the votes to come in. Yeah, so the idea anyway is that I'll eventually get that implemented. Let's just get this out of here. I think Nidus Canals are... They are tier 3, so I guess this would be tier 4. 0, 1, and 2. Okay. What did I want for its stats? Apparently it's 400 to... Let's take a look. creep generator. Okay. I think the main thing here is the time cost being not completely negligible, right? So that is probably one of the main things there. Okay. Why would I do that? For what reason would I ever do that? I've just removed upgrades from the whole game like a month ago. I'm not going to add them back in a radius. Hmm. I wonder if this actually would break stuff. I'll just keep it at tier 4 for now. Okay. All right. Documented that. Let me take a look at this a little bit. Hmm. Okay. Let's do this. I guess we'll just delete that actually, but you get the idea. All right. I want... The question really is... Monument of Sin could be either one of these branches, which is kind of funny. All right. If we consider... You've got the Grand Library and the Gateway. I mean, Gateway is kind of a shit unit name, now to think about it. But... I don't have any, like, superior version lined up. I kind of like the idea of maybe building in the thematic of what the Hierophant offers with the cybernetics core. It can be something like a memorial or something. Maybe like a memorial. We have effigy and altar. Idols are a unit name, so we can't really have that either. Maybe something like... I think we use Shrine for Celestial Shrine. Icon, Omen, Beacon, Sanctum, Synod, Register Hall. And then obviously Stratum. What's up, Terran Dominion? I've just been struck with inspiration to rename the Cybernetics Core, but I am finding it hard to come up with like a thing. I was just talking about like trying to break down the rules, right? The intrinsic rules behind a lot of these names is that you have like a descriptive term and then a term that solidifies it as a building. So if you think about it like robotics facility. Okay, facility is a building and it's robotics is what it's describing. So it's describing the purpose of it. Cybernetics core. Well, core is not really usually a building, I guess, but it works out in this case. Grand library. It was like a custom one. Ancestral effigy. Well, effigy is not a unit, so we know it's probably a building. And these kinds of things are at play pretty frequently, actually, within this space. So I was thinking we could, in theory, have something like, since that's essentially how we've deconstructed the Protoss things, I was thinking there's, you've got Cybernetics Core, and I want to rename that, and it unlocks Hierophants, which are supposed to be like fallen Cantavis, the Templar, formerly known as the High Templar, put into a Dragoon shell, or not really a Dragoon, but a mechanical shell of their own. That's kind of the lore behind the unit. I kind of wanted to tap into that, so it would be like, I was thinking Memorial, but obviously it can't just be Protoss Memorial. It could be, I guess. But it could also be like Memorial something, and then something to remind people that it's definitely a structure. Obviously, I've already used like Shrine and Altar and stuff, so I can't really do that again, but there's probably something that I can do there. I mean, there's definitely plenty of robotics units that are literally on this page that I'm on that you could just go and look at by clicking the link in the description and finding it yourself. So, I mean, the answer to your question is yes, and it's obvious. Jesus. Still can't believe the Watchdog and Warden are so tightly knit in that race. So yeah, I was thinking probably rename. Maybe memorial is the term for the structure, actually, and then we can have a more descriptive term like this would be like maybe like a term that matches the feeling of, what do you call it? Pride or yeah, I don't know. Let's see if we can find that. Pride. Pride W. Pride. I guess you could say like dignified memorial. That's a little ridiculous though. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I just call it memorial. I'm not really finding much here that works properly. Did the stream just crash? I don't know. Let's see. Wait, did it? It looks fine. Oh, maybe not. Well, it looks like Twitch is working at least. Oh, did it? Oh, did YouTube start working again? What a prank. No, it looks like YouTube is just busted. Okay. Well, boys, this is why you don't use a shit Google service, man. Thankfully, I still have Twitch, even though that's also a shit service. So, enjoy. Enjoy, boys. Enjoy having to migrate to another fucking page. Oh yeah, I was in the middle of trying to... there was something that I saw here that wasn't... It was actually... Oh, emblem is what I was thinking. Memorial emblem? Memorial... Maybe I can find something. Memorial Abbey. Jesus. Okay, can't say Chantry, that's pretty terrible. Oh, it's apparently Chantry, which is even worse. Temple is pretty generic. I think I say Sanctum. Don't I have Sanctum in here? I have Stratum. Do I not have Sanctum? What the fuck? That's like an obvious one. Oh, I do. I have Sanctum of Sorrow. That's what it is. Sanctorium. That's a good one. That's pretty funny. Ooh, Memorial Tomb. Well, there's Memorial Vault. I kind of think that would work. That's a reasonable one. Maybe not, though. I don't know. Memorial Vault does sound a little bit odd. Memorial Tomb. I guess we could just have Mausoleum, but I don't know. Oh, there you go. We've finally made a poll. It only took 8 years. Caw. Thanks for the follow, homies. I have just noticed that for some reason my actual Streamlabs isn't working. The classic. Give me a sec. Hey, you can't say that. Yeah, that is the requirement now, isn't it? Let's do it. All right, I think I found it. Just minimize this. I still don't know why my Streamlabs is duplicated in audio. I guess it's playing from another scene or something. Oops. No, YouTube was indeed broken, but let's just say there's a reason why you weren't able to type. I've read one too many of your messages, lost too many brain cells. See you next time. All right, made a couple polls. I guess I'll go ahead and share this one in the chat. And then I should grab the other one as well just to throw it in there. The fuck? Why is that one so much long? Or that URL is like so much longer for no reason. Oh, I see. I don't really see, but no. No, he just, if you look at the chat history on the stream even, you'll be able to see why he was ousted. He just asks questions that are either complete wastes of time that he could answer himself by actually looking at the page instead of typing to me, or he asks questions that, or says things that are just offensive to my intelligence. Like, I was thinking about a way to rename the cybernetics core as one of the polls describes. It even gives the context, right? And he says, what about Hall of the Fallen Psionic Heroes? Like, Jesus, man. Like, at that point, he's just a troll. He must be. I refuse to believe somebody is that much of a 12-year-old. It's okay. We'll get through this together, boys. I promise. No, I just, like, I can't imagine it was a legitimate suggestion. He must have just been, like, having me on, you know? He must have just been taking the piss. And if this were a stream where I wasn't actually trying to get something done and I was just, like, playing Bioshock or whatever, like, sure, take the piss, right? But certainly don't fucking waste my time when I'm actually trying to get work done. Come on. Have some decency. Oh, what's up, Iron Torch? Yes. That could be a good map crap. Oh, fuck. That is a fucking crow. What's up, dude? Thank you for crowing me on Twitch. That's a little large, I just realized. We'll just shrink that. I'll put that right underneath my chat, actually. What is this? Oh, it's a chat box for the... Oh, I see. Well, I guess that makes some sense, but... Okay, I have that. I'm just looking through my scene here. I'm trying to figure out... I'm trying to figure out why it's playing the sound twice, to be honest. You guys can't hear it, but every time somebody follows me on Twitch, I hear, is that a fucking crow? Caw! Except it's doubled, and the second one is delayed by like a half a second or something, or not like, it's like 0.2 seconds or 0.1 seconds. All right, let's say streaming this. Oh, I actually already have this. It's this, which you guys... Well, I'm glad that's even a thing. Doesn't even have my fucking desktop for some reason. Even though it says desktop on it. I was very intelligent, okay, guys? Alright, so if I delete this, turn these on, I can probably delete that as well, but I'll leave that. I don't need this. I don't need that. Okay. That's set up correctly. And then I can get over here. Yeah, it is very progressive. Thank you. Wait. What the fuck? It just removed my Streamlabs. You can't rewind the stream to see everything that guy said. It's okay. You're saving yourself, dude. I think YouTube just broke. Yeah, I don't know what the fuck happened. I guess we added too many units to HYDRA for the Google servers to handle. So that's the only thing I can think of. All right, hold on. I'm almost done fixing this, I think. Labs main. That over here. Massively downscale. Move it. Okay. So that's done. Oh, I see what happened. Wait, no, I really don't actually. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh golly gee whiz. I didn't know this, but OBS groups are shared across multiple scenes. So that's why that was happening. So we'll say overlays, desktop, pro. Now I've got to do this again. Jesus. Okay, so now we can go to adding that scene. I'm just going to have to reset it for the other channel when I do those. What a disaster. I wonder why it's like that, to be honest. All right, move it down here. All right, we should be good. Just do that. Should be perfect. Should be epic now. Can't believe I had to do all that work just to fix that, to be honest. Okay, back to it. Back to work. Jeez, what a disaster of a show it's been so far. Mostly from YouTube's side. I'm glad it's just a fucking 50-50 split again. The classic. Oh, we've got 3 comments already. Because 3. Mausoleum. I like all of these comments. There you go. Oh, fuck. We have a Terran Dominion comment. What is this? Is this just a really long briefing? Where I just lose my... That's probably what that is. I'll watch that later. That's... yeah, that's... I forgot about that campaign. Holy man. Holy Torn. Can you believe that there's like a 12 rescuable Necrons in the top left corner of a Torn map? Can you believe that? It's pretty good. Pretty epic. Oh shit! You started watching Flame Knives. Flame Knives and Eon of the Hawk are probably my most psychotic playthroughs literally to date, and probably will never be superseded. You will enjoy that playthrough if you enjoyed like Antioch Chronicles with Mask or Legacy of the Void with Mask or whatever. Those have some moments in them. And I don't think the chat survived in those videos because those were like I cut up the VODs after and YouTube doesn't like export the chat with it. So you kind of have to... Yeah, I was very generous initially. Don't worry, that gets very different. That's like that goes out the window, especially in the second campaign in Eon of the Hawk. It's even more insane. But don't worry, man. I start being very mad very quickly. I had a lot more patience, dude. I used to be able to take a lot more before yelling and screaming and calling everybody an idiot. Now I don't see the point in pulling any punches. I'll say that much. Oh, I think technically, hey, we're not using the physics lab. I just remembered that. So we could reuse this unit ID at some point. Only problem being, obviously, the unit, I can't modify its DAT requirements in Firegraph, so... because Firegraph is a very useful program. Okay, what was I actually trying? I was actually trying to add the Prostration stage and the Monument of Sin, but I wasn't sure where I wanted to put any of those. I think Prostration stage makes the most sense in the Templar lineup, and then the Stellar lineup can have the Monument of Sin. But at the same time, the Monument of Sin could be used... The thing is, the Monument of Sin could be used for either 3. Templar is probably the weakest connection, but the idea is that, like, this is so... the fact that we have to go into this, like, mechanism or whatever is so scary and, like, so... ridiculous. Like it's so bad that we have to do this that this is sinful to some extent, right? So yeah, I was actually thinking maybe moving the Pariah over to the Robotics Authority actually. I guess the only main issue for that is that if we look at like the command card, for example, of the Grand Library, it is only 3 units. Though technically, the Cantavis can turn into an Archon or into an Augur, so that's like really 5 units. And obviously without the Pariah, that would be 1 less, right? Oh no, that would be 3 or 5 if you count the Cantavis morphs. Yeah, so. But yeah, I was thinking of moving the Pariah over since it is supposed to be it's like a mechanized, it's a profane mechanized heretic, according to the in-game tooltip. So that could be banging. Monument of Sin, however, I think it probably makes the most sense for the Stellar side of things. And from there, you would get things that are even like the even higher up than the Star Sovereign, right? Although I don't have any unit concepts for that yet, but yeah, maybe Monument of Sin goes to infrastructure then, I don't know. Probably not, though. They bleed out. I mean, I obviously wouldn't want to implement that in terms of being bad. Like, it is bad for gameplay, but it's obviously got some sort of gameplay connection with burning down at low HP for buildings. I could see a status effect. Like, actually, I think I should probably remove the burning down thing for Terran structures because they should have fire suppressant systems. Like, obviously, it's literally the year 2500 or whatever. Like, they should have something that can deal with fire inside a structure. So it is really absurd on its face, like, considering the tech that we have, especially in HYDRA, but just in general, that, like, oh yeah, fires defeat us. Fires blow up our structures. That being said, if I remove that, it opens up the opportunity for flame-based attacks to set fire to units and structures to deal damage over time, or specifically structures, perhaps, we'll say. And then we could have like a bleeding status effect that does what you're describing, where it just sort of weakens organic units, causing them to bleed out. Maybe cancels regeneration or something. I don't know. Yeah, Mavericks would be pretty bad, and not just because of like a lack of clerics. It's just that you have to stim them down to low HP sometimes anyway, just to get them to fight. So if they start like, if you stim them after they've already had a few stims and you don't have healing nearby, then they literally just kill themselves. So, but I don't know. I think the main issue whenever you have something like a damage over time that's kind of slow, like the burning or in this case a bleeding, is that it's very hard to keep your head around it. Like, it's very hard to keep your mind on the damage amount, right? So that's why I kind of use those DOTs, those damage over times, a little bit sparingly, we'll say. Or I try to make them bigger in terms of number, and then have them be affixed to a certain area, like put them in like the Star Sovereign Blast or the Salamander Perdition Barrage, like torpedo thing, where it hits the ground and creates this field. So I think that's like one of the main takeaways there, I guess. So I guess Sanctum of Sorrow would actually stick around on the Templar side, but it would unlock like an elite Strider. And then the Pariah would move over next to the Demiurge, and the Demiurge would be unlocked by something other than the Monument of Sin, I think. I think the Monument of Sin would be like... So Synthetic Synod for Architect. There would be some other structure for some other unit. Like right now for the robotic branch, right? We've got frontlining in the form of golems. We've got like spammable DPS from vassals, simulacra, manifold. We've got like veritable damage dealing from idols that handle crowds. That's all in the early stages of the game. And then you've got Acantors for like sieging in the ground. You've got architects that move pretty fucking slowly, but can handle like what we're missing, I think, at the tier 2 of the robotics branch is some sort of like all around fighter that doesn't get overwhelmed by the like a lot of short range units like the architect does, or flyers like the Acantor does, or whatever. And Barghest obviously have limited utility in terms of frontal combat, right? So conceptually speaking, I don't have any immediate ideas for that, but there should probably be some sort of robotic, like well-rounded unit, some sort of thing that's kind of like the Atreus or kind of like the perhaps the Magister or the Panoptus or something, where it's meant to sort of be the core unit. You know what I mean? Like how the Maverick is the core infantry unit initially, or whatever. So I guess the core unit for the robotics is kind of also muddied even at tier 1. Like it would ironically enough probably be the manifold, whereas like simulacra you can spam them, but the fact that they deal it says they deal normal damage. I don't actually remember if that's true or not. Test that real quick. It is normal, but it's so low in terms of its damage amount that it's kind of not even what you would expect in terms of DPS. So, and they're kind of unreliable in that respect. Whereas the manifold, obviously, it deals normal damage. It's like the everyman type unit, right? Like that's where you go if you want reliable damage outcomes. You would grab manifolds, and you'd grab idols for the crowd control. So it's like kind of split between these two in terms of reliable DPS for all purpose units, like attacking air and ground. And then otherwise, maybe get vassals for harassment, simulacra for just trying to like essentially reinforce on the battlefield, and then golems to frontline. So you have like a nice split there, even though there's not really a de facto better unit like the Maverick. I guess that's kind of like what Bio is now, though, what infantry is now, because you've got the Maverick, but then like Cyprians are a better unit. It's just that they're more expensive. And they're a little bit slower. They don't have stim, right? And then obviously you've got like clerics and shamans for the healing, and then Harakids for frontlining. And that's obviously just in the tier 1 sector. Whereas for Protoss, you've got these 5 options that are a little bit more varied, we'll say. So yeah, I think that's probably fine, actually, now that I think about that. And then as we get a little bit deeper into this, we realize there is no real tier 2 version of the idol or the manifold. It could conceptually be the architect in terms of DPS, but not in terms of versatility or mobility. I also do think the architects probably hit a little too hard, considering their cost. So the solution to that is either increasing their cost. I might increase their mineral cost, because 250 is pretty low for this unit, actually. I think it could be at least 300, maybe more. However, I also think that maybe the damage reduction is not programmed correctly, or maybe it's just not impactful enough, because I think, and I'll just do some quick testing to confirm this theory. What do they deal? Like 50 damage, according to the website. And they've launched the missile. So we'll say if they split 4 times, then, or if they split 5 times, then each bullet should be dealing 10 damage, because it's split 5 times. So if we say 051, we try to make sure that this splits correctly. All right, it looks like that's very helpful. Thank you, Ion Cannon. Jesus. Just when we thought we could get a test in, guys. All right. It was helping. Yeah. It's not in the way we wanted it to. Okay, so yeah. Hey, gee, guys, I wonder what's happening there. So this is explosive damage, right? And explosive deals what? Is it? It's 50% to organic, if I'm not mistaken, or to not organic, small. What's a large unit that I might be able to hit here? Let's say Dracodon. Maybe we can do that. Well, I guess it's shields, right? So it's kind of the same way. So in that case, we did 50 damage to shields. Yeah, so it's dealing full damage every time it's for every hit, right? So if we do Zella 5-1, it's dealing full damage with each barrage. That's why they're really powerful. Is when they split, they're getting free attacks instead of it actually being reduced. So we'll take a look at the code real quick. Maybe this is an obvious bug, but if it's anything more complicated, obviously Iquor was the one who implemented this behavior, so I might not be able to handle it. We'll check. I assume it's in weapon. It might be might not even be in weapon fire. It might be in HYDRA specific. I think architect. Current document. No. What is it? It's called reactive payload. I'll search that up. See if I can find anything reactive. Here we go. We found it in weapon damage. If weapon ID equals this, damage divisor does not equal 0. I don't even know what this does. What? I think this is inlined damage because of the... Oh yeah, the acid spore count seems to be inlined literally everywhere. That's pretty AIDS. I can't believe that we have to inline calculations for the Devourer Vithrilisk now acid spore count. Pretty cringe that code has to be like this. So double div equals 1. I don't know where damage divisor is calculated from. Oh, it looks like it's part of this hook. Okay, so it's a function arg. Damage divisor does not equal 0. Div equals double damage divisor, and then... So this is because of dividing... This is like the size division, basically. Or it's like size and weapon or whatever. Damage equals double damage divided by div. And then damage equals damage plus the acid spore count. Basically, this is like handling that. So either the divisor is 1 or it's... yeah. I think this is from... It's not actually... It doesn't have code to calculate from how many... what do you call it? How many splits? So this is the code that's actually causing the splits to occur. And it looks like in other places, we're getting the divisor from globals.get_divider and then getting the bullet. So let's take a look at this. So the multi-hit bullet is this divider. I don't actually know how. How does it know that it's Oh, okay. If it's this weapon ID, it will always have this globals get divider like multi-hit bullet struct. It'll always be a multi-hit bullet because of this projectile being this way. So it's getting that. So maybe we can fix this by going into weapon fire or weapon damage and finding div. And then well, I guess the problem is we still have to take that and divide it by or factor it by the damage divisor, right? So then instead of that, we can maybe say double div equals globals get divider. Do we not have like a bullet or anything? Oh, then maybe that's the problem. There's weapon damage hook. Yeah, there's no bullet because at this point it's already impacted. I actually don't know how we would fix that then. This is something where it's like kind of above my pay grade based on my understanding of the code. So I'll just refer this to iQuare. Architects don't. Architects deal full damage regardless how many times their projectile splits. It's supposed to divide the damage base weapon damage from the by the number of projectile splits. Okay, so I reported that anyway. Hopefully it's easily fixed. I don't know enough to make any statements. It's a bit of a messy thing. So everybody wants Protoss Mausoleum, it looks like. All right. What I will do, though, is I will increase the architect mineral cost to 300. Because even when they are fixed, I think that will be appropriate. So we'll say that. Let me just jump into current patch. Oh yeah, apparently Veek implemented the latest change as well. Amaranth shield steal numbers. The fuck? So I haven't actually seen it. It's supposed to be permanent minimum of 10% shield steal and a maximum of 50% shield steal based on missing HP. I'm not actually sure if that will be better, to be honest, but it should be more consistent. Let me actually see if I've worded that at all for the Amaranth itself. Yeah, it has not been updated, so I guess I'll do that now. Say shield steal increasing to up to increasing to up to 50% based on missing life. And obviously we can change that later on if we need to. So go ahead and close these. And then just need to add the latest plugin, which means I have to build the plugin. Also, apparently in the test map, there's... iCore was doing some testing. And there was, in the test map where there is no AI running, the longest, the thing that's most expensive is the AI loop, which is pretty insane. Like I'm amazed about that. So I'm actually not sure what could be causing that issues or those issues. I was actually thinking of testing out something related to the test map itself, where, assuming I even have it in my recent list, it doesn't look like it. Let's jump into resources, HYDRA test. I was thinking if I just delete all units owned by the player, or by the computer player rather, I was thinking that that might actually change something. So maybe we'll try that with this latest build. I guess I'll update Visual Studio because why not? Every time I update it, it probably gets like 1 millisecond slower. Or something ridiculous. All right. No, still pretty slow. So it did not change anything, unfortunately. Seemingly anything, anyway. I feel like we renamed something else recently, but I can't remember. Yeah, I guess we haven't tested like large scale 4v4 maps or whatever where it's all human players. That would give us a little bit more information actually. Why is SCM draft frozen? Oh, it's probably because it was displaying some graphic or something. Just end its process. The classic. All right. Can close that now. All right, let's test out this Amaranth. That did not quite work out as intended. So I guess that is 10%, right? Is just 2. Which is not very impactful whatsoever. So if it's 20%, that would be 4, which is a bit more impactful, and then it would still increase to... Yeah, I don't know. I still feel like it's kind of an underwhelming unit in that situation. Oof. The classic Visual Studio updating lag. Going from 20 to 50 is a bit of an odd number, right? So, I don't know about that one. What would 50% even be? It would be 10? That's not bad. So, yeah, I think maybe we'll do that. And then after Visual Studio's done updating, I'll just change it to 20. Well, what are their other stats? Once they get onto the battlefield, they're pretty much ridiculous right now, so. I think I could drop their time cost slightly, and then slightly increase their movement speed, and they'd probably be in a better spot. I think... Oh, I guess I can just answer this pretty easily, right? Oh, it's 20. Okay, so it'd be a 20%, I guess. They essentially match Zealot speed now. They're slightly slower, but it's not that much. Oh yeah, now I just need to jump into unit stat. Oh, their time cost was already 25. The website was just out of date. Well, I don't want to drop them any lower than that, so. The movement speed and revision, I guess, to their passive should be sufficient, I think. So I'll just jump in here, go to eternal service, and do that. Do we have... The fuck? Oh. Destroyed. Guess I don't have an autocrat after all. Why? Why, Windows? Okay. So I guess I'll take the Cyclops and copy it over the Blackjack, and then the Pazuzu, and copy it over the Claymore. And then, what else will we do anyway? You know what I was thinking, guys, is the Siege Tank turrets and the Goliath turret, right? So the Phalanx turrets and the Goliath turret, they are just extra unit IDs that we probably should have, to be honest. That would open up 3 unit IDs for us. If we were able to somehow affix the unit ID or affix the turret to the unit without like visually and stuff, preserve all the gameplay side of things. It might also fix the AI management where the turrets will just get stuck. I don't know about that though. What do we got here? It was just an errant thought. I don't think it'll actually work out, but you never know. Yeah. The siege tank, or the phalanx in siege mode, right? Like, there's not really any reason for it to be a separate thing. It's just, the only reason is because the uh, the tank turret exists in tank mode. That's the reason. And they didn't want to like remove or hide the unit ID or whatever. If I had to guess, anyway. I guess they also maybe they couldn't figure out how to make the unit visually look like it's looking around. But even though that's just a frame set thing, I don't know. It's lard code, man. Yeah, well, if we're gonna go down the route of talking about what should or should not be the case, then we certainly should just say that the we should surely just say there should not be a unit ID limit. All right, well, I will be back in a moment. Just got to use the bathroom and get some water and all that. So bear with me here for just a minute. And when I come back, we will continue the conceptual overdrive, add some more stuff, maybe start implementing some of this stuff, maybe start mapping. You never know. BRB. Okay, boys. We're back. Man, handling the healing is going to be a bit annoying, isn't it? I guess we should try to write like some sort of. Oh, maybe there is already an API function that's handling from healing. Like, what is the? I'll just search healing, see what I can find. I see this update really did fix a lot of issues with Visual Studio, didn't it? Wow, very useful. Glad I updated it. Oh, shit. I just realized. Hold on. Hold the phone. This is actually, this is probably something I should remove or change up. Oh, I guess it doesn't. No, never mind. Never mind. It doesn't matter because all of the researches are like, there's not like anything that actually is transferred in that sense. Oh, shit. Is it back? I'll probably have to refresh on my side. See if it is working. Hey, it seems to be working. Epic! So try healing current target. Yeah. Well, don't say I didn't warn you. Oh, hey, it's just undone all of the stuff that I had pinned for some reason. Like, look at this. I have to repin game hooks and initialize. And SCBW data. Stupid. Maybe it's part of the C unit thing. Oh, okay. Set unit HP seems to be the... Or set HP seems to be the thing. It might be as easy as this. TBH. Wow, like that scroll lag. Holy moly. Okay. Let me just log the other. There's some others in here. I'm pretty sure that I added. The scrapyard itself is 200. Scrapyard. And then we had, obviously, feature station is still in here. And that's fine. But there was also Biotic Base and Tinker's Tower. 126. Which is NORAD 2 crashed cruiser. And then 150. I think that's Zerg Cerebrit, if I'm not mistaken. And we apparently still have Gallery. Is that true? So I guess that would be the Guild Hall. Looks like I never actually documented the Olympian. I do have Siren at 151, which I forgot to document earlier. I'm not actually sure what that is. Oh, that's Zerg Cerebrit. Which means that 150 is Zerg Chrysalis. So this is Terran Tinker's Tower, and then this is Terran Siren. This is Terran, biotic base. Having to keep track of all these is quite the challenge. 35. Terran Guild Hall. Alright. I think the only unit ID that I have left that I could use for like Olympian and Autocrat, obviously one of them that we've identified already is the physics lab. Other than that, I think we really are dry. I guess I could replace the physics lab and the quantum institute. Since the latter is, while it's in the game, it's not actually a structure or anything. Amazing. Very reliable service today. I haven't changed anything in my stream setup, so the fact that it keeps breaking is pretty impressive. False alarm. Fake news. Maybe we wait on the guild hall then. And we probably wait on all this as well. Okay. Yeah, I think we wait on all that shit, to be honest. I think we leave this open for other things. I'll leave the Protoss around alone for now as well. And we just commit to Scrapyard, Blackjack, Aspirant, Cohort, Future Station, Claymore, Siren. 1, 2, 3. So it's 5 new units, a new structure, a new add-on. I think we just commit to that. As far as adding stuff to Terrans is concerned. Now, I think actually Biotic Base Tinkers, Terra Guildhall are the only ones that I've documented as other things, but I don't think, yeah, I don't think that that's remained true for anything else, actually. So it should be fine. In theory. I guess now that we have an ID for the Siren, I can put in a... an icon. Yeah, so I think we can pretty easily implement all of these. The question realistically is like I need a unit graphic for the blackjack, the claymore, and the scrapyard, and aside from that, I think it's pretty good, right? So we'll save the others for either the new engine or the unit ID extender, whatever happens first. I think that's only fair. Then we still have 3 other unit IDs, technically 5 other unit IDs that we can try to that we can throw in. So that either means like advanced workers for all races or like a new set. Like I still have stuff earmarked for the Matroleth morphs down here. Obviously, I'm kind of waiting on the button set extender to worry about any additional changes to Zerg and Protoss for structure and larva related reasons. But I think Zerg still should be the recipient of the next couple of like brand new unit concepts. Not talking about the Matroleth morphs that have already been conceptualized, that to some extent are already have already been. Let's say implementation has begun for them to some extent. So yeah, I think we'll jump into a map, making a map pretty shortly here. It's obviously a Quantum Institute that I can jump up here. And then there was something else that we're not using right now. Oh, it's Physics Lab, which I don't remember the ID for. But I'm assuming it'll be up here somewhere. Physics Lab. Oh, Pegasus is no longer 52. I think that's Monogram now, so I'll jump that over here. What is the ID for the Physics Lab? It's 118. All right, we'll try to build, and obviously there's going to be some errors that come up with those old definitions. Probably just the Pegasus, if I had to guess. Everything else should be fine, but I don't know. Maybe I've even removed the Pegasus code. I don't remember. Okay. So yeah, I think these are the last 5 unit IDs that we have. I'm pretty sure, having taken stock of everything else so far. I guess that could be like 2. It could be an expanded transport for Protoss, an expanded transport for Terran, and then the advanced workers for all 3 races. Those could be these unit IDs here. But the advanced workers are kind of contingent on us getting the AI working with them. Obviously, the AI can't. Well, I guess it's not so obvious. You would think it would work out fine, but AI worker management is hard coded to a single unit ID. So even though we have a hook for the code, in theory, We have code for the, like, we actually have a hook for the function that tells the AI to handle a worker. The only thing that it can do is handle one unit ID. So we would have to rewrite the code at a deeper level to manage, like, whatever's choosing the worker in the first place, like whatever function is calling the worker selection needs to be rewritten, and all functions that handle workers need to be rewritten to handle this sort of thing in a bit of a different manner. It's obviously pretty atrocious. All right, we'll say revise unit ID enum. Start implementing. Oh yeah, what is the code in CUnit CPP? It's like, right. Actually, don't even remember what this passive is called. Servile vigor cohort passive. All right. Okay. I don't actually know if that's going to elicit any issues, but let's see. Okay. So what the fuck? Well, clearly that's fooked. So set HP is used for damage as well as for healing, so that is kind of the issue, isn't it? Well, I'll just remove that. Yeah. I think that is related to this code, if I had to guess. I'll remove it to make sure that that's not what I thought it was. CUnit. I'm assuming that, like, set HP is called by, for example, like, do weapon damage and a bunch of other stuff. I don't know. I would like to just be able to cleanly say, if you're this unit ID or if you have this passive or whatever, then you should just be able to say, okay, I'm going to get double healing now, because that's kind of the whole point. Whereas, clearly, if we do entire solution and we find set HP, what is this anyway? This is for Shaman. Yeah, so that was the reason. Oh yeah, I guess I could do that, right? Well, no, I don't know how I can do that exactly. Because it's like, I don't know. I think I have an idea for how to change that, though. All right, well, I'm glad I just spent a bunch of time doing that. That was pretty useful. Yeah, I'll just leave this for later on. I was only supposed to give a quick try, and didn't work, so we'll see about that later on. Because clearly, like, doubling the in theory, if my code worked correctly, it was supposed to take the HP and double it so that, oh, you know what's happening, obviously, is that set HP is being, the calculation is being done in the arguments itself. So set HP would be like, it's literally telling you what the hit points are supposed to be. So in this case, we're taking the HP that's supposed to be the case, say HP minus 20, and doubling that. So it's HP minus 20 times 2. Not 20 times 2, but so 60 minus 20, which gives you 40, and then multiply that by 2, and it's 80, and that's actually over the max HP. That's why that was happening. I didn't put 2 and 2 together from the name of the ability, or the name of the function, rather. So actually, if we wanted to fix that, then we would have to go into every single case where it's calculated and change the calculation itself, which is pretty shit. So I'm not doing that right now anyway. Maybe Vic will have some idea on rewriting that in a more intelligent manner so that we don't have to do that. Because in theory, you should just be able to calculate it based on like just past like the value you're trying to subtract or something. I don't know, like it's clearly done in a very weird way. Yeah, and then you just like if it's healing or something, you could pretty easily calculate that. IMO. What was 150 again? Oh. I'll just keep that for now. So I've been thinking I kind of want to explore some of these units that are going to be coming up for the side of the like some of these Terran units and whatever. So I kind of want to make a map that's not necessarily linked to the one that the campaign that we're working on, right? I'm thinking this could end up being like, it's like where the first map of the Protoss campaign, right, is supposed to be this larger, or it's supposed to be like an ice map, and there's supposed to be like upwards of like 6 Zerg arriving on the planet. So it's kind of obvious there. Not really a huge fan of the shape of this area over here. That's a little bit better. What's up, Nick Blade? Welcome. All right, so we got some geometry going on over here that I'm likely going to have to mess around with a little bit. Want to make sure that we still have like room for. I kind of want a little bit of it as a little bit of an experiment, right? We have this very narrow, like there's not a whole lot of space here for large armies to get across, but I'm thinking we could throw something in the works here by making it so that the large army pathways are actually to the sides. So like this would be a large army pathway when we get a bridge over there, and then the same would be true for over here maybe. And if you want to attack in with like smaller squads of units, that's like where you get the value from over here. But moving large groups of units through this area could certainly get them all killed by a more tactically sound, tactically positioned army. So I'm thinking something like that could certainly do the trick. Just have to decide what the start locations are going to be, how many players that I want to throw in there. That's the question. Am I for Warden or Watchdog? Watchdog is less generic. Warden is less out there. So really, I guess I could see either one of them being useful. Warden will be more immediately discernible as like a defense system, and then Watchdog is a little bit more character to it. So I would say I would probably prefer Watchdog just because it has like, it's not always associated with something like a structure, but I think that little novelty adds a bit of spice to it. Certainly more interesting than like Sentry, for example. I guess that's the main thing, right? It's just more interesting. What's up, Luciferius? I hope YouTube doesn't break for you like it broke for everybody else earlier. Good luck. The real question is this a map where you play as a fixed force, or should I allow user select? Yeah, Twitch was never broken, surprisingly. Like, if I had to pick between the two, of which would go down first, I would have expected it to be... What a disaster. I completely forgot what I was saying. Oh yeah, I would have picked, I certainly would have picked Twitch to go down first, if I had to guess. But that's okay, as long as we are able to continue getting work done, which we certainly are. Hmm... Oops. I'm not actually sure how I would set this map up for this many players initially, so it might end up just being a 2v2v2 or something to that effect. We'll see. We will see. I wonder if I have, oops. Here we go. Do I actually have the bridges set up in here? Nope. Destroyed. See if I can find them. Because I know they're in here somewhere. There they are. All right, so we'll say bridge. Oh, I do have a bridge block somewhere? Oh, I do. Check that out. Somehow I missed it. Jesus. Okay. This one's pretty easy to extend over. Just need to find the asphalt at the right height level. Maybe I have this in here too. No, it would just be there, wouldn't it? There we go. Were it to be, I would not have to mess around with all of this stuff just to plant some tiles down. That would be epic, wouldn't it? But, alas. Oh yeah, and of course I fucked this up too, didn't I? Ah! Why? Why is this program so bad, dude? When you hit the enter key, it just closes the entire fucking window for no reason. Okay. Now I can do asphalt edge below, I'll say dirt 1. I just want to make sure that I get the bridges looking somewhat reasonable so that I can get a figure for how long or wide the bridges themselves actually will be. And then that can kind of distinguish or determine, rather, how I'm going to approach designing the site of the engagement angles and stuff. I want to make sure that, like, if it ends up being good enough for large armies, despite my initial sort of skepticism to that front, then I want to make sure that our design of the areas up until that point also facilitates large armies. Because if there's a bottleneck in there and it's not like an intentional bottleneck, where it's like a choke point of some sort, then it's actually a bad thing, and it's me not realizing that there wasn't a choke point or a bottleneck elsewhere. Or I was kind of deliberately designing it so that the central area would be for, in theory, smaller squads. If that doesn't end up being the case, then I don't want to design the rest of the areas leading up to those choke points, or supposed choke points, with essentially the like a false assumption, we'll say. Things you just gotta keep in mind when you're making a map, taking angles and all that. I think one of the other things I'll keep track of in this map is I kind of want this map to feel a bit like the first Zerg remake. The mission where obviously it was, in theory, it felt very cramped, right? The first Zerg mission, which was a 3v2v1, if people remember that one. And I want this mission to feel somewhat claustrophobic without it being, like, significantly restrictive in terms of what you can actually implement. That's kind of my thought here. Go ahead and save this in our HYDRA dev materials brush desert. Okay. And yeah, we'll just grab some of these. All right, so now we've got that. Jump over here real quick. Now this one, it looks like we'll be doing a very similar approach to the last one. Okay. I guess we should wait to see what these ones look like as well. Excuse me. Every time I think it's going to be too long by one tile, it ends up being fine. Seems strange. Unfortunately, there's no blend for that yet, but I can do one later. Guess we want that instead of the other one. And we can just do this. All right, so that links up pretty easily. Okay, pretty trivial. All right, now we've got the bulk of what we need, I believe. All right, so just as a bit of a placeholder stuff, I will jump these across. Trying to line this up. Okay. Yeah, okay. That does not look nearly as jank as I thought it would. And then we'll update these road patterns a bit later, but... I guess this might be an area where it may end up looking jank. Let's see. I guess not really, huh? Right, so this just gets canceled out later. There you go. We've got this closed circuit area anyway. Solid enough. Oh, Watchdog's back to 50-50. Or Watchdog Warden are back to 50-50. A classic. Alright, so this is obviously a site for an expansion. Let's see this here. Oh, dude, every single time, I swear, it looks so obvious. Oh, sure, that one. That one's going to be one tile too long. It's deceptive, dude. It fits every time. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Okay. I would actually just use the desert ramp, or the desert bridge, rather. But... That's a bit of a toughie. Does not tile. That's the main issue. All right, if we go back to some of the more generic layout stuff we were doing, I think what this informs me is that while the other ramp or the other bridges are going to be wider in general, and like the outskirts or whatever is going to be a little bit more vulnerable to large scale armies, this central area is definitely going to be high value all the same. And I think we can add a little bit more value to it as well by having stuff like out here. And obviously I can do stuff like having some pipes and whatnot. In the nearby area. We're obviously kind of limited in terms of environmental art that we can deploy on a moment's notice, so have to make do with what we can actually deploy so far. Just marking out some higher ground terrain over there later. Or later. Yeah, so, and then obviously there's a good ramp spot right here. I'm assuming I have dirt cliff doodads. Here we go. Yeah, I think this is probably a better move right here, actually. We can slap a base down over here. We recede some of this terrain so that it's less likely to be, like, gimmicked from ground units over here or whatever. And give them a little bit of terrain cover this way and that. Don't really like that at all, to be honest, visually. I think we'll do terrain cover through the tar itself instead. That looks a bit better to me. And then we can have, like, yeah, I think that'll work out nicely. Have a bit of turret room back here. Oh, this is a nice color, thanks. Very appreciative. Very, readable. I think I made sure that these tiles are buildable. Yeah, they should be walkable as well. Nice. So we've kind of pulled away from this ledge over here, or the, I don't even know what you'd call this, the coast, I guess, the tar coast. I don't think I have the crevices in the, no, I don't. Do not have the crevices in the brush palette. Not even sure where I put the crevices, to be honest. I see the ones without minerals, and then the ones with minerals are down here. Just mostly throwing these down here as a way to have them at my disposal for the future. There we go. And obviously we need a geyser. There you go, all that work for one base. Mwah. Can't argue with the visuals, though. Just mark that for later. I might want to throw in a small little post. Check it out. I think I'm going to start using double gas bases a little bit more frequently on the basis of it making... It just makes sense, I think, to do that. Because if you think about it, we are oftentimes lacking in gas and like having way too many minerals. I think double gas with the current situation, like obviously you could just balance that up by training more units, but I think making more areas of the map more important to fight over because of the double gas bases. Like this is something Balethal started doing in some of his maps. For example, Starlight Station has a lot of double gas bases in the middle of the map. I think that like encourages you to go out and fight for those, because if you can get those double gas bases, then you're kind of off to the races in some respects, right? So I kind of certainly like that, the way that that's sort of shaped up in his maps. I feel like it's certainly something I could apply to the way that I have put together mine. So yeah, that will be how we handle it. IMO. Give it a shot in this map. Certainly quite experimental. I'm thinking for the initial... I'm going to bail up pretty soon, but before I do that, I do want to slap down some start locations so I can kind of get a read on where I'm going to be positioning players. I think right now the thing that makes the most sense to do is... I'm just now noticing that actually I probably should take this, for example. Slap it over here. But yeah, right now I'm sort of caught wondering how I should set my initial things up. My initial layouts and all that. I don't think either of the bases I've put here are ideal start locations by a long shot. I think we probably have... We don't really have a lot of development around the map in general, but I think the Protoss would show up kind of in the same spot in theory. They would pick spots that are close together, so they could maybe be in like this upper right-hand corner, where there might be like one isolated player playing like top middle from the enemy Terrans. And then we would have maybe another Terran in the top left and another Terran in the bottom right. So they are kind of split up, which would allow you and your ally to be in the bottom left. And again, I kind of want this map to feel a little cramped without necessarily feeling like so much so that it detracts from the gameplay. It should instead like accentuate the gameplay experience. The pacing should be higher because maybe there's close distances between you and your enemies, and there's a large number of them, and it is a bit of a free-for-all, so it's chaos we're expecting. So in that sense, I might want to lean into that a little bit by having like the players not necessarily surrounded, but encompassed on multiple sides. And maybe they should be a little bit closer to the middle of the map. So maybe like one player might start out here, and then the other one might start out here. And then again, we've got like Terrans here, here, and here, and then Protoss like here and here. I was thinking this might be like the rough layout, and then obviously you can expand to somewhat relative safety as long as you neutralize this right side player from the Terrans, which is kind of easier said than done, I think. So that might be an interesting layout anyway. This is assuming we even have a 2v3 or 2v3v2 rather. So I'm kind of expecting that to be the case, but you never know. So yeah, I guess we will continue this. We'll pick this back up another time. For now, This is what you see is what you get. We're certainly working on the actual map as time goes on. And we had a pretty productive session of working on some units and some concepts and whatnot, making some polls. So vote on those if you haven't already. And thanks for all the follows on Twitch. Thanks for hanging out despite YouTube breaking. I'll catch you guys pretty soon. I would imagine sometime in the next couple of days for more of this and more work in general. See you guys later.